Okay, now we have the calculator. This is the final result. You can do 2 plus 8 equal no, you can do something like 5 times 5 equal 25. You can clean it, you can start something and realize that you make a mistake, you erase it and instead add this and divide it by 8, you got the result and so on. So everything is almost working. You can do something like this. You do plus. You cannot add another operator by clicking like this, clicking, nothing happened, but if you clicked a number, it will work. Then, so this is the calculator. The keyboard pressing of the keyboard of the computer pressing is also working perfectly. You press this backspace and it cancels it one by one, like you can see here. And you can just use the calculator and press equal, it gives you the answer too. So let me explain to you the code of how this one is coming up. So this is the HTML, this is the part, this one. Okay, I use this CSS for the background, for the body. So it's the grid, justified, content, center. This one is making sure everything inside this body is going to be center, and this one is taking the vertical alignment. So this is the background and the font size. So this was, I was trying something, I can even cancel this one and so on. So I also removed the default margin that comes with the body element of the HTML. The container is just having a white background. The screen now is this part of the code, this part that the result is going to be showing on. And we have the buttons. All the buttons are getting into this. So I use the grid template column to give auto, so it's going to divide the whole width by 4. Donc ça divise les colonnes en 4 et en 4 parties égales. C'est pour ça que vous voyez ici 1, 2, 3, 4. Donc les 4 colonnes ci sont divisées en 4 parties égales. C'est ce qui le fait ici. Il faut que ce soit dans un div ici comme ça. Donc c'est le div, c'est tout ce qui est à l'intérieur. Ça prend les boutons si ça se rassure que ça les mette après chaque 4 colonnes. Ça renvoie le reste par le bas, vers le bas. Donc maintenant vous allez remarquer que ici on a un qui est juste, ça occupe 2 carreaux. So this one that is taking two columns at the same time, it's I added something there called clear. So this class is allowing me to go here and okay, special key, this is large. So this LG is what is making it occupying the two columns. Like I give grid column start 1, and then since 4, then the red will be, by the end it should have only 3 buttons. That means this one will occupy the 2, and that's why you are seeing it like that. This one is just to give this color, this background, and this one is just to give the background blue, like you can see the equal is having, and the special character, the special keys, I mean all the operators are having this this orange background, and this one is having the blue. Yeah, basically this is the HTML, and this is the screen is going to be showing inside here. So let me explain the JavaScript now. I started by creating that screen and assign its value, change its value since it's an input element. So I access the value property of it and make it to 0 by default. Then I declare this expression variable, this SP for expression, like everything that's being entered, like 1 plus 2, 2 divided by 5, and so on and so on. Everything is getting stored into this string value called express that is initialized by default to be empty. So I call something list of code, which is getting all the code. You can see selecting everything. This 3 dot in front of the square, it's making it an array of unknown arguments. So this is to declare an array that you don't know the number of argument by but at the beginning. So this 3 dot is going to get the array element, this list, because this comes query selector all is getting all the element with the class code, like you can see here, this code, this code, this code. So it's getting almost everything from here till here. Just this clear and this equal button are the two one, I mean this one and this one are the two buttons that are not part of the list of that list of code. So then we get it. We have to now remove this one, is returning the HTML element inside this array. So I want to retransform it by using the map function of the array. The map method is going to loop through each element into this array, and each element here is completely HTML element, like button. So for example, like this. Now what I need is just this. It's just this. So how do you get it? You go here, you say map, and then you say for every element you pass the element, and you get the element.inner HTML, and you store it into this guy, this variable, this array called button values. So all the buttons that you're going to be clicked. Now we got the operators like special key. So I added this special key. You can see the multiplication, the addition, the subtraction, and the modulo and the division. Those are special keys, so it allows me to get them and store them into this array, and then I extract their inner HTML2 and store into this thing called operator values. Now we can use the clean document.query selector clear. I mean, okay, this variable called clean is going to get the clear, I mean this C, which is this button. So we say okay, we get it and store it into the variable. The equal button, we get it and store it into the variable. And the clean one now is, I'm talking about this guy that allow you, for example, to keeping erasing one by one, like it's going to delete the tree, the last element at the end, 3, 6, and so on. So that's what we are talking about. This is what I call clean one. So we start it here. Now we say okay, on click, we are adding an event listener on click, and then we check something called click value. What have the user clicked? We get it through this add event listener. The function, we pass the event, and we can get the event.target, the text content. It gets exactly the value. I mean, for example, it gets this 3, it gets this 2, I get this C, it gets this percentage, it gets this square, this star, I mean. So we get them and we convert them into a string and store into this variable. Now we check now if the button are all the button from here. We check if those buttons are included. If the key the user just click is included into those buttons, that means all the buttons of the calculator, then yes. If it's there, we do this. If not yet there, we don't do anything. That means if you press something that's not part of this of one of these buttons, even though you have tried to do that, you will know. Or you use the keyboard, for example, and press a letter or a character instead of pressing the numeric values, it will not work. It will not take it into consideration. So if then we do this, inside this we do what? We try to check if it's an operator. If what you just click is an operator, then we check now if the valid, check validity expression. Now this validity expression, you can see that validity expression here, it's a function that I'm calling and passing an expression there, and then I'm negating it. So if it returns true, I negate it to false and to false, and then nothing will happen. Like you can see, if it is false, then I negate it, become true, and then this get executed. But if that value is not an operator, I don't even need to check the validity of the expression. Why am I checking the validity of the expression? I'm talking about this guy. Okay, this is the validity of the expression. I am trying to get the expression, the actual expression that I pass, and split it into an array, keep it here, and then I got the last element, keep it into this thing called last key. This is the last expression. Like for example, if I come here and do this. This is actually the last expression, which is actually an operator. But if it's not an operator, I don't even have to check the validity. But if it's an operator, I check to make sure that you cannot click another operator and add behind this guy. But if you click something that is not an operator, for example, it will show. So that's why I am checking. Now, how I got it and stored it here, and I use this ternary operator to check if this last key press is actually into the operators. Good. If the last key is an operator, then I am going to return true, that the expression have the last string of the operator of the expression is actually an operator. Then it should return true. If it's not an operator, it should return false. That's why, you know, if it's not an operator, what should we do? If it's not an operator, we should have done the else condition, which is good, which means yeah, it's not plus that is behind, or square, or whatever, or minus. That means we can continue with this guy. So that's why we are not we are negating it and be able to execute. What this one is doing, what is taking the expression, which is this value, and making sure that it concatenate what the user just pressed from the clicked. The value, we got the value and concatenate it into this string, and then we update the screen. This screen is called ekran. Ekran now is just selecting the screen, right? I'm talking about this. We are updating its value now by making sure that screen dot value is equal to expression that has been updated by what the user just pressed. Now, if it's not part of it, then we can just go ahead and do it without any validation. So that is it. Now, this is on user press a key from the keyboard of the computer. That one we are listening to the key down event. So the key down event now is having a variable called key press. What the user just pressed, it's coming from this event, key event dot key. It will go exactly, if you press A, it will return A on this variable. But we prevent the fact that the user can use the A and so on by checking that what the user press is among the code. I mean all the buttons from the calculator. So I passed it here and check if what the user press is just a key enter keyboard, then we calculate. It means the user is trying to get the result. If it's also equal, he pressed the equal sign from the keyboard, then we calculate. So what's the calculate function doing? That is it. The calculate function is taking the expression and returning it into a variable called result, and the variable results just getting the evaluation of the expression using this eval function, and then it's updating the screen again, making sure that the expression is here and equal to result that has been actually evaluated. But this one is just the string. So that's why you can see that if I press now 5 and then I press equal, this is actually the expression, that's the equal sign, and this is the result. I'm talking about this expression, the equal sign, and the result. So that is what this guy is doing. So if the calculator is this, now if the user press the back button, like the backspace, we first make sure we split everything from the expression. We popped using the pop method of the array, which means it removed the last element, and then it join it using this guy, this join method, and then we update the screen. That's why when you keep pressing something like this, if I press the backspace, I have pressed the backspace one, I have pressed, so that's what it's doing, reducing. Now the difference is if the user doesn't press any of this enter, equal, backspace, that means he has pressed something else. It can just happen that the user have pressed A. Now we need to check all the button value and make sure that what the user press is among them, which is actually the button from the calculator. Otherwise we don't do anything. But if the user have actually pressed a numerical value or an operator like minus, plus, multiplication, addition, then we can check now if it's an operator. The same thing as here, yeah, like as here. we actually check if what the user have pressed is actually an operator. If it's an operator, we check if there is not already a last operator in the expression. If there is already a last if the last character from the expression is already an operator, we does nothing. So this guy will check if it is this, he will return false. But if the last element is actually an operator, he will return. If it's not an operator, then it will negate with this guy, it will become true, and this one will get executed. Yeah. So, but if the user press something that is not included there into the operator, if it's not an operator, just maybe a number like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then this one got executed. So that's it. Now the last thing is about this click event on the clean. Do you remember the clean? The clean was about this expression. Yeah, this expression was getting the clear, getting the element by the clear, which is talking about this C. That's to cancel everything from the screen. Like I press, everything become 0. So this is what this is doing. This clean is actually just getting the expression from the screen and making it an empty screen and updating the screen by giving its value 0. So now if we are doing equal, the equal button, if you press it or you press this equal from this guy, then we are calling the calculate function and we are passing the expression. You will just evaluate it and update the screen like this. Yeah, basically this is what we are talking about. Yeah, if you have problem, you can go ahead and ask question. You can even refer by line, like, hey, at line 14, what are you talking about? I can't understand from line this to line this, so that you will help me understand what you are talking about. Et si vous avez des problèmes, vous les francophones, là je pourrais, bon, battez-vous. J'ai oublié d'expliquer en français aussi. Mais basiquement c'est ça. On a juste des variables qu'on a déclarées. D'abord ces variables stockent les éléments HTML, et ici on prend celui-ci, tous les éléments qui select all, donc qui ont la classe code, on les store ici et on récupère maintenant rien que le contenu, même le texte fini qui est, je ne parle pas des attributs, donc on récupère le texte fini. Par exemple, comme ici on récupère ça c'est ce que on récupère 2, on récupère 3, donc c'est ce que ça fait. On fait la même chose pour les opérateurs, parce que si vous voyez, je sélectionne avec special key ici, c'est ça, c'est ça, donc tu vois que ce n'est que les opérateurs. Donc et je stocke là, je déclare maintenant les variables ici pour stocker les variables spéciales comme clean pour le C, le bouton égal et le bouton supprimer une touche à la fois, et c'est ça. Maintenant on ajoute un événement dans tout le projet. Vous voyez dans document, je peux même dire toujours document.body pour dire tout ce qui est dans le body, parce qu'on n'a pas besoin de sélectionner tout ce qui est dans le head là. Donc on sélectionne tous les éléments là, et si l'utilisateur clique quelque part sur l'un de ces éléments, on récupère cet élément là à travers event.target.textContext. TextContext ici te retourne également les valeurs clés comme ça, comme 3, comme 2, comme 6, comme étoile, comme plus et tout ça. Et puis lorsque ça retourne ça, on vérifie maintenant si le bouton, la valeur, donc si le bouton que l'utilisateur a cliqué est inclus parmi les touches de notre clavier. Ça, ce sont les touches de notre clavier. Ceci, ça récupère tous les touches de notre clavier. Si c'est là, on vérifie si ce n'est pas un opérateur, parce que si c'est un opérateur, on vérifie s'il y a d'abord un opérateur dans l'expression. S'il y a un opérateur, on n'ajoute plus, on ne fait plus rien, parce qu'on ne peut pas dire 2 plus 3 par exemple. On ne peut pas consécutivement aligner des opérateurs comme plus 2 fois pour faire une opération. La fonction eval ne va pas pouvoir calculer ça. Donc c'est ce que la fonction checkC est en train de faire, comme vous pouvez voir ici. Donc ça prend d'abord, comment on fait pour checker ça? On prend d'abord l'expression, comme c'est un long string, on découpe ça d'abord en arrêt, et on stocke ici et on récupère le dernier élément de l'arrêt, on stocke dans la variable. Si maintenant à base de ça on vérifie si le dernier élément de l'expression là est inclus, est un opérateur. Si c'est un opérateur, on return true. Si c'est pas un opérateur, on return false. Maintenant si on return true ici, tu vois que le truc ici va être vrai. Ça veut dire qu'il y a déjà un opérateur. Donc, il faut seulement continuer à exécuter le code si l'utilisateur n'a pas pressé un opérateur. Donc, si ce que la dernière valeur de l'expression n'est pas un opérateur, là, c'est bon. On peut continuer en prenant juste l'expression et la mettre à jour plus. Donc, on prend ce qui est déjà dans l'expression, on la concaténate encore la valeur dont l'utilisateur vient de cliquer. Et juste à la suite, on met à jour ce qui affiche sur l'écran en changeant la valeur, la propriété valeur par l'expression qui a été mise à jour ici. Et ainsi de suite, ainsi de suite. Et c'est la même chose. Ici, on a utilisé suite pour pouvoir détecter si l'utilisateur presse sur la touche entrée du clavier ou sur la touche égale. On fait la calcul et on update. Si il appuie sur backspace, on comprend qu'il est en train de vouloir supprimer une touche à la fois et ainsi de suite. Si c'est default, on fait la même chose que ici. Et puis on a le résultat. Donc c'est un peu ça. Merci.